Okay, we are live.
Good morning. As a preliminary matter, this is Ken Bogren, Chair of the Community Preservation Committee. So what I'm going to do is to go through the procedure relative to conducting a remote meeting. Please permit me to confirm that all members or persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Maria Zoda.
Aye.
Joe Topham.
Aye.
Linda Williams.
Aye.
John Trudell.
Aye.
And we are missing Dawn Hill Holgate, Jack Gardner, Tim Savarino, and Diane Coombs. We do have a quorum with the five of us. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Glenna Stokes Scarlett.
Here.
And Kathy Richin.
Aye.
We have no anticipated speakers for the agenda, as far as I'm aware. Good morning. This open meeting of the Community Preservation Committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we've been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public meetings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. For this meeting, the Community Preservation Committee is convening by video conference via Zoom app as posted on the town's website and identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and to take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the proposed agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. When we get to the agenda, I will note one addition that I'm aware of. We are now turning to the first item in the agenda, but before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting notice. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, Chair will go down the line of members, inviting each name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold your name until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone and computer when you're not speaking, and please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourselves. After members have spoken, the chair will avoid public comments as follows. Staff will activate the chat feature on YouTube. Members of the public who have comments or questions can use that feature, communicate with the public body. Instructions are on the town's website. The chair and the staff will do their best to address the public. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. I will go to the agenda now, and I would ask for approval of the agenda with respect to one addition. We have one additional request from the Nantucket Food and Fuel Assistance Program in the amount of $2,440.32 with respect to the Nantucket Rental Assistance Program. I would ask that item be added to item Roman 2, item D in the agenda. With
I'll make
that,
that motion.
I have
with that-
one to add
that-
as well.
Pardon? Yes, Maria.
I gave it in March, and I think it's probably still in the mailbox. It's for the thrift shop, $5,207.25.
Okay, that would be item D to the agenda now, Roman 2, item D. Because C would be the food assistance, and D would be the thrift shop.
I'll make that motion with the other two because they didn't know about them 48 hours in advance.
Excuse
Well,
me.
the thing, Linda, I had on the agenda was the item additional request to be provided for commissioners prior to the meeting.
Yeah,
Ken,
but it's not within 48 hours of posting, so I'll make a motion to approve the agenda, but subject to Glenda.
Ken,
Yes, Glenda,
those items, there were 3 other project status reports added to the,
You're on mute.
you're on
Glenna.
mute. Glenda, you went on mute. Glenda,
There's a hand next to her listing here. What does that
I
mean?
can't see it. My screen went blank.
All right, I can see you, but there's a hand, there it goes. She should be able to be heard now. No, her microphone is off.
those items were previously listed. Sent out the adjusted agenda. Everyone should have received it. So the fund requisitions that we have are A through F with the addition.
You went mute again. Glenda, you went mute.
Yeah, her microphone's off.
Your microphone's off.
It's on, but it's not functioning.
Can you hear me?
There's something wrong with her. There's
Yeah,
something
now we
wrong with her
can. Yes,
speaker.
go ahead.
Glenna, repeat that.
Okay,
Couldn't, yeah.
we have items A through F. C through F were added and sent out to everyone prior to this meeting. Nantucket Interfaith Hospital Thrift Shop, Habitat for Humanity, and Nantucket Platform Tennis.
Were they filed on with more than 48 hours ago on the agenda? No.
Well, they,
So they were unanticipated. The only reason I'm making this distinction is that in order to vote on them, we have to say a motion that those are unanticipated by the chairman 48 hours in advance.
right,
And then
I
we can
understand,
approve everybody.
I understand that, Linda. Ken did,
It's off again. You're off again. Ken, she's got to call in on the phone or something. Ken, you are off. No, you're on again.
I'm on.
She's off. There's something wrong with her speaker because I'm looking at it.
on
Now, there you
Sunday,
go.
I believe I
You
sent
missed
that,
everything.
excuse
You
me?
missed everything you just said because you were off.
I believe I sent out that agenda, the updated agenda on Sunday.
To us, yes, but not posted at the town clerk.
Right,
That's the point.
right.
So I don't
Ken-
mind voting on them. We just have to
Okay.
make a notation that those 4 items were unanticipated by the chairman prior to 48 hours. And then we're fine.
Okay. Will you make that motion to amend the
my
agenda
motion.
in that form, Linda?
That's my motion.
I second it.
Thank you, Joe. Any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none. Those in favor, Maria
Aye.
Soto,
Aye.
Oh,
Joe Topham,
Aye.
Linda Williams,
aye.
John Trudell,
John,
John,
he's on. John,
We can't hear you. He said aye.
okay, Ken Bogrand, aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next item on the agenda are the approval of the minutes of February 18, which have been circulated. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes unless there are any corrections or additions.
Motion to approve.
I second it.
All those in favor by roll call vote, Maria Zoda,
Aye.
Joe Topham,
Aye.
Linda Williams,
Aye.
John Trudell. I can't hear John again.
Aye, John.
Ken
And
Bogren,
your
aye.
John's on and off and you're on and off. There you go. Everybody's
Yeah.
off now.
Aye. Sorry, I'm not touching the computer. It's going off and on.
Next
Can you
item
hear
on
me
the
now?
agenda is-
We can hear
And
you.
put the paper down.
Next item on the agenda is the fund requisitions to ratify. While we were unable to meet, I was able to get the finance department to be able to make two payments to the Nantucket Interfaith with respect to rental assistance. And they are identified on your agenda as amount A in 16,605.64 and amount B 16,590.32. I would entertain a motion to ratify those disbursements made while we were unable to meet.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor by roll call vote, Maria Zoda,
Aye.
Joe Topham,
Aye.
Linda Williams,
Aye.
John Trudell,
Aye.
Ken Bogren, carries unanimously. Next item on the agenda is the fund requisitions, and those are items A, B, C, D, E, and F, as made by the earlier motion today. I would entertain a motion to approve those requisitions.
So moved with the same caveat on those ones that didn't make it 48 hours in advance.
Okay,
Musical interlude, everybody.
Second.
all right. Okay, by roll call vote, Maria Zoda,
Aye.
Joe Topham,
Aye.
Linda Williams,
Aye.
John Trudell,
John. Hey, John. His microphone is working.
Ken Bogren, aye. It carries. Next item on the agenda, there's no old business. We have two items of new business. What I wanted to do was to talk about when we wanted to do the annual public forum that we're required to do prior to the deadline for the submissions in September. Obviously, this is tied into when the stay-at-home order ends, but also it creates a problem for us because of the fact that I'm not sure with respect to the distancing requirements, which are most likely to continue, how we deal with that if the distancing indicates that there can't be a gathering of more than 10 people. And so whether or not this needs to end up being a videotape approach or meeting as opposed to the fact of a physical presence.
Why don't we
So I
just
wanted
put
to
the
open
meeting
that
off?
up to the committee's thoughts with respect to that.
Why, we used to have them in August. Why don't we just go back to August out of safety?
But we'll still have the 10, probably the 10 feet or 6 feet apart or 10 people of the room, correct? You think?
Well,
Maybe not.
it's hard to tell because
We
if
don't know.
that's there, we would have to do it not live. We would have to do it by video participation. Well, let's set a date right now, and perhaps the easiest thing would tie it to our normal date, which would be the third Tuesday of the month, and have it for sometime later after our regular meeting on that day in August. Does that seem like it makes sense? And as we get closer to it, we will figure out how we're going to be able to do it. And if we do it physical, how we in fact meet the distancing requirements and the limited number of participants.
If there's
John
still
had his
anybody
hand
wants
up.
to participate.
John had his hand up. Joe had his hand up, Ken.
Joe, please.
So Ken, we've been doing Concom meetings and it's working really well. I mean, it's pretty impressive how a presenter can make their case as long as we have the information in front of them and the interaction. I think it works really well. So if we do set a date and we can't be all in the same room, I think that we just go to this Zoom platform and it works very well. That's my recommendation.
Well,
Excellent.
hang on
Okay.
a second. Hold on. We're not talking about submissions and interviews. When we have an annual meeting, people congregate to ask questions. We have a presentation. You cannot do that in a wide format with multiple people asking questions on this platform. They've had trouble with it at the select board. Or if they were making a presentation to us, like when they do the applications in the fall, that's perfectly reasonable to do it this way because we can all hear them and we can see them. But we're talking about the annual meeting, which is a congregate situation, and everybody asks questions. And they have a presentation of one of our applicants who's, been successful. So I think we need to chill on how we want to do it until we see what happens this summer. But I think the 3rd is the 18th of August.
All right.
Ken, just to add the point with the Concom, we've been doing YouTube. So all the comments come in, the administrator follows the comment. So the moment the comment comes in, it just quickly gets added to the forum and put to the board. So we all are able to discuss it. So
Joe,
So it's not like this. This is not going to
Joe,
work.
Linda, a second. Joe, is the YouTube approach different than the Zoom approach?
So the YouTube follows about 10 to 15 seconds behind the lag. But what the channel 18 would do is they turn on the comments, and Glenna would follow the comments, and at the end of a presentation or our interaction, then you say, Glenna, is there any questions on the YouTube channel? And then she presents them that way. The only thing you want to do is you want to make sure that the presenter identifies himself and doesn't have some phony name or something like that.
Right.
It actually works. I mean, I know it's a little bit, I understand what Linda's saying, but I think in this age and where we're at right now, that the form works. It's a little awkward. It's a little trippy sometimes, but once you kind of get the groove of it, it works really well. I mean, we had a 4.5-hour meeting in the Concom, and I have to say it went fairly smoothly after about 15-20 minutes, if everyone's kind of set up. And it may be something that Glenna may want to watch, sorry, Glenna, that you may want to watch for 15-20 minutes or an hour to kind of get the rhythm of what happens within these meetings. I know the select board are dealing with multiple platforms, but I think where we're more narrow in our agendas, that I think that someone can definitely add their comments and follow along. I think it's going to be easier than the select board. I would not want to do what the select board's doing. I agree they have to have someone in front of them to really work in a very efficient way. I think they're doing a great job. But I think in the Concom, I'm finding that I think that the CPC could function the same way or very similar to it. That's my recommendation.
Okay,
We don't have to
my
worry about
reaction
that
to
yet.
the discussion right now is I think we can agree upon the date, but based on input from Joe and input from Linda, I think that we see that there is a possibility of doing something, but we don't have to make that decision now. But what I'm
Right.
encouraged with is that there is a process that looks as if it could work for us. So my feeling would be that what we would do is agree on the date of the annual meeting as to that August 18th, but we will make a determination closer to that in terms of the format that we're going to be able to do based on what the rules are relative to distancing and the number of people allowed together. Is that comfortable with the rest of the committee?
Yes.
By voice vote, I want to hear yay or nay. And so Maria,
Yay.
Joe,
Aye.
Linda,
Yep.
John? We have to teach John how to be able to turn his mic on.
I'll show you.
All right.
Yeah, his mic,
All right.
there it goes.
All
It's
right,
on
now,
now.
the only other thing that I wanted to just sort of raise is the issue with respect to our recommendations going forward because of the fact that we haven't had town meeting yet. So I don't think that we have any allocations that are really controversial, but what I just wanted to do was to sort of keep our ears to the ground as we get closer to having town meeting to see if there are any issues that people are concerned about with respect to the allocations and proposals that we made, so that we're able to address them should those come up at town meeting floor.
Well, here's the problem, Ken. I just talked to Dawn yesterday. And the decision about what to do about a date for town meeting, right now it's the 31st of May. And it looks like they're having a meeting on Saturday to discuss moving it to the 31st of May. They can only put out town meetings by 1 month when it doesn't happen on the date that you're supposed to have it. So it was already put out a month to now. This weekend, they're meeting to talk about going to the 31st. There was some talk about on the 31st of going to the fall. Now, as you know, everybody's fiscal year starts July 1. We're going to have a bunch of projects that are underway or in second stages or third stages that are planning on starting after July 1 or getting set up to start in the fall. If we don't have a meeting till the fall, we can't make any allocations off of what we have already motioned to happen.
No,
So
I understand that.
we have a problem with funding here, for the next fiscal year.
Well, that's clear, Linda. But the issue is that we're unable to move because of the way that the statute's set up. It has to be approved by the town, by the voters. And so
Yeah.
we're at the fact is that projects can start. There's nothing that prevents any project from starting. The fact is that we're not in a position to be able to fund any of their requests until after town meeting approval, which presumably, and until after the start of the new fiscal year. So,
Well, here's the question about that is, since the fiscal year, no matter when we have town meeting, fiscal year starts July 1. So in effect, we'll be paying retroactively once we get the allocation in, whether it's September, or August, whatever they have it. So they're not going to be penalized for starting something after July 1 and us not having the approval until the fall, whereas normally we don't retro pay. So we couldn't pay something in the fall in April.
Linda, you're not correct there, Linda, because they are able to start the project after the warrant has been filed. But they can't collect on anything until after it's approved and the fiscal year is done.
Yeah, I'm saying the same thing. It's just that I want to just make sure that they can go forward with these projects after July 1, and no matter when the town meeting is, they can get paid for everything after July 1. That's all I'm saying. Because fiscal year is fiscal year, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, okay. We're arguing over a moot point, I think. But anyway, I don't disagree with you that anything after July 1, they will be able to be paid no matter when it's approved at
No
town
matter
meeting.
when. Okay.
Okay, are there any other comments with respect to that?
Is there a motion or something that needs to be made in that respect? Just to confirm that that's not an issue?
No. It's
Okay,
just a matter of policy.
I don't think so, John.
okay.
Now, the other thing is that one thing I wanted to let you know is that at the last meeting, there was a request from Brian Mitchell with respect to the fact that the extension of, or a different interpretation of the funding to them. And John had suggested that we have her come back and make a presentation. Because of the timing with respect to when we were able to call this meeting, I decided not to put her on the agenda for this meeting, but to put her on the agenda for a meeting in May, assuming that we're going to be able to hold that. So I just want to give you a heads up that we have not forgotten about
Okay, everybody's
Discussion.
frozen.
discussion with respect to that, but that would be, my intention is to have that on the May agenda.
Okay.
Is there any other business that anyone would want to bring up? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
So moved. Second,
There's a second.
second,
All those in favor by voice vote? Maria,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Linda,
aye.
John?
Aye.
We didn't do so bad. Thanks, everybody, for participating.
Thank you, Ken.
Hear you now, John.
And your technology
We hear your laughter.
wizard who couldn't get in here without the help of Glenna. Thanks to Glenna and Kathy. What I really appreciate is the fact that that you can now go into the office to, in fact, implement these, put these into the system so that finance can, in fact, make these payments out for the things that we approved.
When can I go in the office, Ken?
You need to talk to Glenna, but you can go in, you coordinate that with Glenna.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, Kathy.
All right,
Thanks, Lana.
thanks, everybody. And Andrew, thank you very much for doing this for us.
Thanks,
you, Evan.
Andrew.
My
Take care.
pleasure.
And-
Thank you all. Be safe.
Bye now.
Bye.